brothers? Welcome to the Golden Brews Podcast. We're still here for another week.
Yeah, welcome back, everyone. It is episode 4, and we are churning along. So, yeah, it's been an interesting couple of weeks. Putting together a podcast is not easy. It's a lot of work. Recording is easy. It's the after stuff is hard. But it's been fun. It's fun getting to work on the process, and the reels are probably my favorite part. But I'm not going to talk about that on this podcast. So, yeah. So, well, how was your weekend, Bish?
Weekend was decent. I was supposed to go down to LA for an engagement party. However, wasn't able to make it. Had some trouble with my back. I pulled something over the weekend. I didn't think a drive down to Southern California would have been good for me. So just ended up staying local. Went to a birthday party on Saturday night for some family friends. It was really cool. Had a good time. Buddy of mine came down from Walnut Creek. Shout out, Sonny. So, yeah, we had a good time. We just kind of chilled out, hung out with some friends. It was a couple of birthdays this weekend. Also went to my buddy Justin's stepson's birthday too, Brock. But yeah, it was just a birthday-filled weekend. How about you?
Yeah, well, lots of birthdays. I didn't do too much. Yeah, just hung around the house. Got some family visiting from California, so it's took them out to Philadelphia for a bit. But yeah, not much. It was a long weekend. A lot of work stuff going on as well. So, outside of the podcast, real life work, But yeah, the other thing I did see though, and I've been tracking very closely, is Bitcoin reached 90K. If you know anything about me and my brother, we follow crypto very closely. So this was huge. And we both are looking forward. I'm looking forward at least to see what happens in 2025. What about you?
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. We followed it for the past handful of years, and we've been for the highs, we've been there for the lows. Pretty unreal to see where it has come, especially with the election this past week. And the country was divided. But I feel like looking at the crypto markets, looking at our actual stocks, the country has decided. They've decided that, we're pushing forward as a whole. Whoever wants to get left behind is going to get left behind. But, everything being shown in the past week is excitement. People are excited about the direction in which our country's going in as far as the financial markets go. So I'm pleasantly surprised, but very, very excited to see what the future holds.
Yeah. Well, we're not here to talk about politics because this is not our podcast. So no. Our opinions are our own. So
financial wise, yeah.
Yeah, financially speaking, it has been good for the markets. Yeah. So the NBA. Let's start with there. There's a lot of things happening in the NBA. One of the biggest stories is the Cavs are still undefeated at 12-0. Why are they still undefeated, and how are they undefeated?
There's a little bit of luck that plays in to everything, right? There's so much parity in the NBA. There's a lot of teams that have the ability to win games. I think the Cavs just have hit a nice stride beginning part of the season. Being 12-0 doesn't necessarily mean they're the best team in the league. There's, the NBA champions still out there. They still have that title. You still have to take it from them. Still a feel-good story, though. Cleveland. Shout out to Cleveland.
Yeah. I think one of the things that you and I sidebarred about was the lack of a real star player. Yes, they have Donovan Mitchell, but he's not a top 10 player by any stretch of the imagination. Do you think they have a real shot at still winning the title without a star player?
Everything's possible. Anything is. They're a good team. Who knows if they're active during the trade deadline? That's a lot of teams will either pump or dump, at that point. So, they might be able to bring in another complementary piece to aid Donovan Mitchell in the quest for a title, for a second title, because LeBron brought that first one. Cleveland, this is for you, So I think it's going to be interesting to see if they can keep this pace up, especially with not having a top 10 player. I think Donovan Mitchell's up there in like the top 15, but he may necessarily not be top 10.
Yeah, even top 15 is a stretch for me. I mean, he's a good player, but yeah, I don't think they're going to get it done. The in-season tournament, it's something that's new. Lakers wanted last year. I think it's another way for the NBA, because it is a long season for them to make money early on in the season, get more viewers engaged, because this during regular season games just don't get fans excited like the playoffs do. So this is an early season playoffs, which doesn't affect any seeding whatsoever in the actual playoffs next year in May and June. Actually, what does it start? May, June. Yeah, I think maybe April too. April, May, June is the playoffs. But anyways, yeah. The in-season tournament, should it even exist?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I like the idea of it. If you look over to the most successful, I would say the most successful sport in the world is going to be the world of football, what we call soccer. Going across the pond there, they have something called the Champions League, which they take the top 4 teams from all the professional leagues and they play in a tournament together. That is, the prize money for that is so substantial. The NBA is trying to gain viewership doing something similar to that, where every game is going to be meaningful in this in-season tournament. You're not just waiting to the end of the season or the playoffs for some meaningful action to happen. And that being said, $500,000 is a lot of money to some of these players, especially players that are at the end of that bench that may not be making $1 million plus for the year. So guys like LeBron and AD, $500,000 is probably money that they're going to donate to charity. But there's a lot of guys that can definitely use it.
Yeah. I'm not too familiar with the Champions League and how that's structured, but I'd assume like the teams that play in the Champions League would play at the end of the regular season for the Premiership, the English Premier, and then Spanish Premier? Is that right?
Spanish Premier, Italian Serie A, French Ligue 1. So they have their own in-season tournaments for each one of those leagues. But the Champions League, they take the top 4 teams from the year previous. So let's say the 2023 top 4 teams would play in the 2024 tournament. That's how it works.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I could see why that could be a money grab for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, Lakers won it last year. They're probably going to be up there this year too, towards the end of the playoffs here for the in-season tournament. Bronny James was downgraded to the G League. I like to say demoted. What are your thoughts about Bronny James being demoted? Mm-hmm. And should he even be in the league?
So Bronny's like a touchy subject. I'm a big Laker fan. Also, just looking back at the beginning of the season, seeing that game where he played in with his dad for the first time, the Griffeys were there, Ken Griffey Jr., Ken Griffey Sr. The last time I've ever seen a father-son duo was those two playing in Seattle together, and this is years ago. But it's just a feel-good thing. The Lakers had a tough offseason, not making it to the finals where they had, a good run. But also Jerry West, one of the biggest legends of the reason why the Lakers are the Lakers, he passed as well. So, just to have some, ability to enjoy the beginning of the season and have like a feel good story. I think that played a major part in the reason why they had him on the team to begin the season. But I think he does belong in the G League at this point. He's only going to play the home games. He's not going to do the away games, which I'm sure that's a little favoritism. But I'm interested to see how he can develop with players that have similar skill sets as he does.
Hold on. So you're saying that he's only going to be playing in the G League's home games? So I believe they're in LA, right? Their G League team?
Yeah.
They're based out of LA?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe it's the South Bay Lakers.
That's, favoritism? Yeah, that is serious favoritism. Why wouldn't he play in both the home and the away games? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's what I read, so hopefully I'm not mistaken there.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I think nepotism is too bad. Like it happens in the league, happens in every league pretty much. But anyways, Bronny James, yeah, that's it. We'll talk about that throughout the season, I'm sure. Did you see the Giannis and Jalen Brown altercation? I wouldn't say altercation, but let's just say the Giannis diss of Jalen Brown.
I saw it. I didn't think it was too much of a diss. If you had to rank the top, nicest players in the league, the guys that you'd want to be a teammate of, Giannis is going to be one of those guys. He's a playful guy. He's a nice guy. He messes around with the reporters when they're doing interviews. There's been times where he's been kind of, on it, but it's early part of the season. You can't take it like that. He stuck his hand out to him. He said, "Nope, I'm too cool for school." It was a joke. And I mean, the Bucks are a 2-win team right now. They're still trying to have some fun, even though they're at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. So I would definitely take it with a grain of salt. I don't think he meant anything malicious by doing that.
Yeah, as a Celtic fan, that's a big diss. And Jalen Brown, he's a pretty serious guy. So I think he's going to remember that next matchup. He's going to remember that. And when he gets a chance to, do what he does best, and it's against Giannis, he's going to do it. And he's going to make sure Giannis knows who he is. You don't diss Jalen Brown. Now it just became personal for the Celtics. Let's see. So yeah, NBA early on, so it's early season, so there's not too much going on. We're going to know more now in terms of this in-season tournament, how this is going to play out. If we're going to crown a new champion. Maybe the Celtics compete this year and actually get that banner. Maybe the Lakers, repeat. Maybe Denver does. We'll see. It'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
What's next?
All right, let's transition over to UFC 309. Headlining, we got Jon Jones and Stipe Miocic. Man, this is going to be a big-time fight. I think it's probably one of the most anticipated fights in some time. I'm pretty stoked, man. I don't think I've been wanting to watch a fight like this in a long, long time. This is one of those, let's plan the day around this headliner.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Jon Jones, Stipe, light heavyweight matchup that could probably be an all-time classic.
Yeah.
Jon Jones has not really lost a fight in his entire UFC career, apart from a disqualification. He threw some illegal elbows against Matt Hamill and lost that matchup, but he's never lost.
Wow.
That is insane. He's my GOAT for the UFC.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Yeah. What are your thoughts?
So, Jon Jones, great fighter. I mean, just amazing. Also, like his brother played in the NFL as well. I mean, just the lineage that they have is just awesome. It's unparalleled, to be honest. I was a big Daniel Cormier fan, and he beat Daniel Cormier a couple times. And I was hoping Daniel would have gotten one of those. But I'm a big Stipe Miocic fan. I think if I had to pick out of the two, Stipe is my guy. I just love the character that he is, the person that he is. Outside the octagon is, where I kind of root for him a little bit more. John Jones, he's had his own troubles, and that might be one of the reasons why I don't root for him as much. But I wouldn't take anything away from him inside that octagon. The guy is a legend. He's definitely up there in the GOAT category. But I really feel like Stipe may have an opportunity to do something special.
Yeah, Stipe is a fascinating fighter. I do want to mention Daniel Cormier. He didn't just beat him; he made him cry. John Jones made a grown-ass man cry on national TV. Yeah,
Well,
that was.
I think he was disqualified after that fight, though. I think there was some PEDs or something that was in his system.
No, yeah, that's right. I do remember that now. Yeah, John, he's had a tough time staying clean, but he has been clean as of recently, right? He beat, was it Gagne?
Yeah, Cyril
right?
Gagne. Yeah,
that was back in 2023, so he has not fought since then. I think there was some injury issues with that. I think Stipe and him were supposed to fight a lot sooner.
Yeah.
But we're getting that fight now this Saturday, so that's exciting. I think the other thing we should also discuss, you're going to talk about John Jones. Stipe was not the champion. Mm-hmm. There was another guy who's no longer with the UFC by the name of Francis Ngannou.
Yeah.
Who beat Stipe, I think multiple times, not just once, but multiple times he's beaten Stipe. I mean, if Stipe wins, do we even need to see that Francis Ngannou fight?
I wonder, No,
sorry. I should say clearly, do we need to see a Francis Ngannou fight versus John Jones?
I'd still love to see it. Who wouldn't? It's two warriors, man. Those two guys have been on top of that UFC for a long time. You put those two guys in the ring, you're going to sell out an arena for sure. Yeah. So, but if Stipe is able to win this, I don't know. Is he going to go out into the sunset and possibly retire after this? Who knows?
Yeah. The other fight is Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler.
Yeah.
Michael Chandler was supposed to fight Conor, Conor McGregor, and that didn't manifest. I think there was a couple times they were supposed to fight, scheduling issues and other issues with Conor. I'm assuming Chandler's been ready to go, and Olivier, he's had some trouble in the octagon, right? With his last couple fights. This is going to be fun. This is going to be an exciting fight. What are your thoughts around who is going to win the fight, and what type of fight is this going to be? Is this going to be a wrestling match? Is this going to be is this going to be a fight, a fist fight?
I think Charles Olivier is a great fighter. I can't recall the last time I saw Chandler fight. I just think that he was waiting for that Conor McGregor fight for a long time. So he kind of took a back seat a little bit. He stayed in fight shape, though. The guy looks great. I'm going to go with Michael Chandler in this fight. Yep. I just really feel like he's coming off such a long layoff. He's super fresh right now. He's a little frustrated because the UFC put so much into that fight with Conor, and it didn't manifest. But that being said, if he's able to go and take care of business now, I think, they may be able to get that Conor fight back on, or he may get a title shot. So let's see. It's going to be interesting to watch. This weekend just has two great headliners. It's going to be super awesome and fun to see what happens.
Yeah, I think it's two different styles of fighting too. Chandler wants to break you, right? And that is KO you, whereas Olivier wants to submit you. So, yeah, I'm gonna lean towards Olivier in this matchup. If Chandler's if he comes out strong in the first couple rounds, like first 2 rounds, he probably has a chance at winning. After that, I think Olivier is probably going to win the match. He'll submit him. Yeah, in terms of Connor, you talked about him possibly coming back against Chandler, depending on if Chandler wins this fight. Connor's comfortable in his new world, right? He's kind of making money in other ways, other forms, like with his, I think, what's his liquor called? His whiskey?
Proper 12.
Yeah, shit whiskey. I stick to my Jameson. But
I'm not going to say that. If they want to come on as a sponsor, I'm going to say it's the best whiskey out there. So, Proper 12, yeah, I mean, I remember the hype around it when it first came out. It was selling out everywhere.
Yeah.
It's Irish. It's Connor. You think of Proper 12, you think about him. He's built a great brand for himself. He is a brand at this point. He is comfortable. He's got an amazing family life. If he wants to fight, he'll be able to come back at any moment, at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
But will he? Who knows? It doesn't seem like he needs to. That's for sure. Do you want to get your head bashed in if you have a couple $100 million in the bank? I think not.
Yeah, I think not either. Yeah, Connor, I think, is done.
Yeah.
I think he's done. He's not going to fight again. And if he does, it'll probably be for the belt. That's the only thing that will entice him. He's not just going to do a match for a match. Like, Topuria could happen. I think their fighting styles are very similar. So, but Topuria would have to go up in weight because Connor's heavy now. He's probably not coming back down to 145. Probably like 155.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Connor, he's done enough outside the UFC with his brand. He's probably done. So the other big fight, another guy that hasn't fought in a while, and another guy that, he built his career off social media platforms. Mike Tyson, 58, versus Jake Paul at age 27 on Netflix this Friday. Cool. Tell me your thoughts.
Pretty wild situation going on there. I think for Netflix, it's just a win-win. Iron Mike, man, he was the most scariest, baddest mofo out there. So, does he still have it? Does he still have that punch? That, man, I'm interested. At the very least, I'm interested. There's people going on both sides of this thing. They're saying he's too old. They're saying Jake Paul doesn't have the fights under his belt. So it's almost like a clash of different worlds is what it is. I mean, you have one of the greatest fighters of all time, and you have one of the most up-and-coming, social media guys of all time that's been fighting, though. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. He's been training. He's been fighting. So I can't wait, really.
Yeah, it should definitely be entertaining for sure. But, Mike's 58 now. Jake Paul has this tendency to go after these old guys with big names. Jake's a no slouch. He's a good fighter for sure. We've seen it. He puts in the work. But yeah, this one, I don't know. Mike, he's killer. I think there was this recent video I watched with Mike watching Jake Paul on the screen talk about how he's going to destroy him. And, Mike says that, Jake's a manufactured killer. And I'm what did he say? I'm just a killer. What was it? Sorry, no, I'm already blanking on this one. I'm a born killer.
Gotcha.
Something like that. He's Tyson's different. His upbringing's different. His mindset's different.
Mm-hmm.
He's the baddest man that's ever existed in any sort of octagon and ring or whatever it is. Like, this guy is it. Like, you do not want to be in a cage with him, no matter what.
Yeah.
Or a ring with him. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, this guy will probably destroy you.
You know, and just another side note on Iron Mike, he is sponsored by Built Basics. Love that brand. So shout out to Built. I got Iron Mike and Built in this one.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go with Mike too. I think Tyson's going to get him. It'll probably go 4 rounds, but yeah, it's going to be fun. This one's going to be entertaining. Netflix is, I think Tyson's set to make 20 million and Jake's set to make 40 million on this fight. So
I think Jake Paul's team is the one producing and all that stuff. So I could see that. And then also, from what I've heard, Jake Paul definitely pays the fighters a little bit better than other leagues do, the ones that are on the other cards.
Yeah.
So, you know, I could see that. I don't think Iron Mike needs the money necessarily. I think it's just it's something fun for him to do and to see if he can go out there and still be the man.
Yeah. I mean, boxing is a dangerous sport, right? Hope, you know, everyone's, hope Mike's health is good, right? And, because Jake Paul is no slouch, he's going to hit him hard.
For sure.
You know, so we'll see how it goes. That'll be fun. I think I got Mike, you got Mike, and you got John Jones. So you got Stipe, I got John Jones.
That's gonna be interesting.
And I got Olivia, you got Chandler, right?
Yeah.
Did I get that right? Okay, cool.
Yep.
All right. Let's jump into week 10 of the NFL. Let's start with our 49ers. Niners narrowly defeat the Bucks 23-20. They escaped that game. They had no business winning that game.
No, not at all.
Right? Let's talk about the biggest topic here. That Debo altercation with Peppers, the long snapper, and Moody. Talk about it. Walk us through it. What happened there? Yeah.
You know, the 49ers offense was playing really, really well. They moved the ball efficiently. They put the field goal unit in there to, you know, capitalize, you know, because they couldn't put it into the end zone. So, you know, they put all their faith in the special teams unit. And so far this season, the special team unit has been the weakest on the 49ers. All three phases of the game, offense and defense, they've been doing well. Not great, but well. But special teams has been the worst of the three. Very lackluster. There's been injuries that play a part for sure. Moody's coming back from a high ankle sprain, which, you know, I get it. That's his bread and butter is his legs, his ankles, his lower body. So he missed 3 field goals. I just think the emotions of the game got the better of Debo in that situation. I don't think there was any malicious intent involved in this. It was just it's an emotional game, you know, and missing field goals is the recipe for losing a game. And one game separates you from making the playoffs, making a Super Bowl run, and possibly winning a Lombardi Trophy rather than not. So he understands how important each and every point is, and I think in that moment it just got to him.
Yeah. Debo just said to Moody was lock in, and Peppers had a issue with that. I didn't think Debo did anything wrong.
No.
Hold your players accountable. That's all he was doing. And Peppers got offended by it. Shanahan came out this morning and said Peppers was in the wrong, essentially. Debo was in the right. Also, Debo is making significantly more than Peppers, so don't want to piss off Debo here, right? If you're Shanahan, you want to side with your one of your best players on the team.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to Moody. I think he's coming off injury, fine. Okay. You had 6 field goals. He made 50% of those field goals. He made the game winner, which is, you got the W. You escaped with a W. Mm-hmm. Had they not escaped with a W and he misses that final kick, is Moody still on the team?
Yeah, Moody's going to be on the team. They've invested a lot into Moody. He was a very high pick last year. So, he's still coming off, that injury. There's a little bit of rust involved. They're not going to go out and get another kicker and play with the psyche of Jake Moody. They believe in him. They're going to continue to believe in him, unless seen otherwise. So I think they're going to allow him to have a little bit of a runway here. That being said, the season's not very long, which is left. We only got less than half of the season left to play. So if Shanahan needs to yank him, he will. It's not going to be, you just keep going with a guy that's not doing it for you. So I want to say that they're gonna give him this, and who knows, he might have built some momentum making that last kick. That was a game winner, for a kicker's psyche. That's awesome. You hit a walk-off winner. That's like hitting a walk-off home run in baseball. Like you're the guy for that week. Yeah, he may have missed 3 field goals, but are we going to talk about the misses, or are we going to talk about the made one that got him through?
Yeah, you're right. Mentality, just mental focus for a kicker to get a game winner after doing what he did during the game is huge. Let's see how it transitions into the next game, because he's still going to be on a short leash, in my opinion. The other big topic was CMC's return. How do you think he played?
I thought Christian McCaffrey played great. He's a Swiss Army knife, man. Anywhere you put him, anything you do with him, he can do it. I won't lie to you. Every time he took a hit, I kind of gasped a little bit. Just because you know what he's been dealing with this whole season. He is the best running back I've ever seen for the 49ers. He can do anything and everything, and he showed that again this weekend. They didn't put the other running backs in very much because they gave him all the pretty much the first, second, and third downs. So whenever he needed a blow, he was out. But CMC looked great. I hope he can just keep the momentum going.
Yeah, I don't know why the other running backs didn't get the ball. Right? Garendo has played well of late. Why am I blanking on the other running back? Mason. Sorry, Mason.
Yeah,
Jordan Mason's playing. He's played really well. CMC's literally had issues with his knees. You don't want to give him a full workload. And what does Shanahan do? He does just that. Is he making a mistake here?
I mean, it is controversial. There's a lot of 49er fans out there that wanted to rip Shanahan's head off after this game, especially because they know we still have a long season in CMC. You can't just throw him into the fire that way, which that's what we believe. But that being said, we're not the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. He knows better than we do. So you just got to trust him and let him do what he does.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, he is the head coach. So, yeah. The other big, I guess, outing was Purcell. First ever touchdown was a 46-yard reception across the middle of the field. That was a beauty. One really big throw by Purdy, but I think it was a better catch and run by Purcell. How good is this guy going to be?
the sky's the limit. He looks physically like he can do it. He pretty much he ran past everybody. He ran through somebody as well. Was able to get that ball across before he stepped out. I was so happy and elated to see that happen. Not only for him and his family, everything that they've gone through with the his shooting in the beginning part of the season, but just for the 49ers, it was just an uplifting thing that it's something that they all rallied around, and for a guy to go through what he has in the beginning part of the season and to do that, I mean, it's just amazing. That's what sports is. It's amazing. It's these stories. It's things that we love to watch and feel good about.
Yeah, Ricky Purcell's a great story for sure for the 49ers. I think he's going to be a great receiver. It's going to be a really good year. I think he's going to be great for Brandon Ayuk in terms of replacement. Yeah, and then let's talk about the other guy. While Brandon Ayuk is out, so a lot of balls are being thrown across the field. One of the guys that gets most of those balls is Kittle. He's the best tight end in the league, in my opinion. I don't think there's anybody else. I mean, Kelsey's having a down year. Andrews is having a down year. Laporta's having a okay year, right? He's special, right? Kittle he does it all. You saw that. I mean, Purdy's throw was remarkable. That catch was just as remarkable, getting both feet down. I think Purdy held onto that ball for 8.4 seconds. That is insane. But yeah, what did you think about Kittle's performance? Also Purdy's performance.
Kittle is a really, really special guy. He's one of those guys that you don't need to throw him the ball for him to have a good game. If you ask George Kittle what he'd rather do is either pancake a guy or catch a touchdown, he's going to tell you pancake a guy, because he just loves to be physical. He loves to just hit guys. He's the epitome of a football player. He just plays the game the way, it's meant to be played. And I'm so happy for him to get that, catch, because nobody really recognizes him, the way that 49er fans do. Kelsey's the big name out there. He's a Swiftie. He's dating Taylor Swift. So he's like the best tight end in the world. And don't get me wrong, he's great. But man, George Kittle is right up there with him. If I had to rank all, him 1, 2, I would put, Kittle number 1 as well.
Yeah, and Kittle's a special player for sure. That pancake block. I went back in memory. What's the last one that I remember that he just destroyed the defensive end? Aiden Hutchinson in the Detroit Lions. Aiden Hutchinson in the what was the playoff game, the championship game last year?
Yeah,
he just absolutely destroyed him. That was awesome. How do you do that as a tight end to one of the premier defensive ends in the league? So, yeah, Kittle is a very, very special player. Niners are second in the division now to only the Arizona Cardinals. They go back home to play the Seattle Seahawks. How do you feel about that game?
I think it's going to be a little interesting just because both of the teams are at almost like a crossroads at this point in the season. The Seahawks, they started the season quite well. They were number 1, in the division for a long time, but they kind of stumbled a little bit. The 49ers, on the other hand, started the season terribly and have started to kind of gain some steam here. The 49ers typically don't play that well against the Seahawks at home, which is weird. I don't understand it because, I feel like we have one of the best home field advantages in the league. Seattle is definitely going to come in as the underdogs in this game. They know what the 49ers did to them up in Seattle a month ago, and they're going to come out with a vengeance. and it's gonna be a close game. I really do think it's gonna be a close game, and it may get decided by a field goal. So Jake Moody, come on, buddy, we believe in you.
Yeah, I think this is a trap game for the 49ers. They should not look past the Seahawks. They have Green Bay the following week. That's going to be a tough one. That's going to be in Lambeau. Do not look past the Seahawks. They can beat you. Geno Smith. DK, is he back? Is he healthy? Do you know?
DK, I don't believe he played last week. However, I'm sure he's going to do everything he can to play this week because he has some unfinished business with the 49ers. So
yeah.
I wouldn't count him out. I think he's going to do everything he can to be on that field.
Yeah, I think it's Lenore you're talking about. I think that matchup is going to be fun to watch. Lenore does not give. He doesn't care about any receiver. He thinks he's the best corner in the league. He plays like it. He plays with attitude. We love it as 49ers fans. He's doing what Dre Greenlaw really does, right? He really brings that oomph. Something that we're missing. And Dre Greenlaw, and another guy that's coming back soon. Hopefully, I think they're targeting the Buffalo Bills game. So that's going to be exciting to see, to get our guy back next to Fred Warner, full strength. Let's go 49ers.
Another thing too is I hope that the 49ers get Charvarius Ward back on the field this week. He and his family, they lost his 2-year-old daughter this past 2 weeks ago now, and I know it's a tough thing, for him and his family to deal with. So thoughts and prayers out to his family. But his 49ers family, they would love nothing more to have him back with them as well. So hopefully, he's able to heal with the team, with that 49ers family as well. But it will be an amazing sight once he does get back on that field.
Yeah. Just kind of crazy because we think of players as just players, and they're people too. And thoughts and prayers out to Charvarius Ward and his family. All right, so let's talk about the Cowboys. All right, Dak Prescott is out for the year. He's now being replaced by Cooper Rush and now even Trey Lance, because both of them actually played in the Eagles game where they got destroyed. Who do you think has a higher ceiling, Cooper Rush or Trey Lance?
Man, at this point, it's just tough to say. Cooper Rush is 5-2 as a starter now. Trey Lance has so much growing to do. Watching him play this, few drives, it was almost like pulling teeth, man. He has an amazing arm, but he doesn't have any touch on the ball. He doesn't have the accuracy that he needs to play that position. He needs to slow the game down for himself. He's playing the game, at a college football pace almost, and he needs to get used to the game speed of the NFL. And the team is only as good as their quarterback. So if he's erratic, if he's running around crazy, if he's throwing balls that nobody can catch, the team's not going to do well. It's a trickle down effect. So I was thinking about this past weekend. I'm like, how are we going to make America's team great again?
Yeah. Trey Lance, he's a tough subject, especially for 49er fans who really wanted him to succeed. And we're happy that we got Brock Purdy, but Trey needs to play. He needs to play, and he needs to play. I think that's the only way you're really going to see what you got. Cooper Rush, low ceiling. Trey Lance, high ceiling. let's see what they decide to do. Right, it'll be interesting. I think Jerry Jones he said some interesting things after the game. Is more around Dak Prescott, how they played better with Cooper Rush, instead of Dak all year. Right, it clearly was shown. So does that mean Dak's tenure here with the Cowboys is kind of coming to an end? Is he going to get traded? Is he going to get released?
No, he has way too much dead money on there. But one other thing I wanted to tell you about Trey Lance, and I was just thinking about this. I think the best option for Trey Lance right now, and nobody's talking about this, I think he should go to Canada. I think it'll do wonders for him. I don't think the NFL game is built for him right now. He didn't have enough time in college. It's almost similar to the Bronny James effect. So I think the CFL might be a good route for him to go down after the season.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the CFL. I think he should play now. The Dallas Cowboys aren't going anywhere. Cooper Rush is Cooper Rush. He's a perennial backup. He's not going to be your franchise guy. You can find out if Trey Lance is going to be. You start Trey Lance, you play him, you see what happens. Yeah, let's just roll. Let's see what the Cowboys decide, though. I watched. I got up early in the morning, watched the Giants play against the Carolina Panthers. Danny Dimes is a really bad quarterback. Daniel Jones is a terrible, terrible quarterback. I do not understand why Dabble is consistently okay with bringing him out, even though he shows you nothing good out there. What do you think the Giants should do now with their quarterback situation?
So I'll be honest with you. I think Brian Dable was sticking with Danny Dimes because if he benches him, he's out. He's out as head coach of the New York Football Giants. He chose Danny Dimes over Saquon Barkley. And that is the single greatest mistake of his tenure as head coach of the New York Football Giants. So, yeah, I'm dumbfounded. I think everybody was. They need to move on from him now. They need to make a change. Both New York teams are very lackluster, and they're both going in the same direction, which is fighting for the first pick in the NFL draft. So, yeah, if you're a fan in New York, maybe go up north. Let's go Buffalo.
You know what's crazy to me is there was 6 first-round picks, first-round quarterbacks drafted this past year. And the Jets and Giants both decided to not draft one of them.
Crazy.
It's insane.
Yep.
I don't know. And then I don't know what's happening in college football. Maybe you do know. Peyton Manning's nephew and Eli Manning's nephew, right? He's playing for Texas.
Yep.
He's getting the starting job now. If I understand it correctly, I think he came in the last game for the starter. Yeah.
So yeah, he came in just because it was a blowout win. He has played, I believe, 2 games this year because their starter was out. But he's not starting. Also he's not draft eligible because this is only his second season. He will be draft eligible next year, and he will be the starter next year at Texas because Ewers, their starting quarterback, will be going in the draft. He should be a fairly high pick as well as I want to say 3-year starter.
Yeah. What a story that would be if the Giants were to draft another Manning in a couple of years. Anyways, that we can. I mean, if you have something to say on the topic, I'm more than happy to listen to it.
Why would it only be the New York Football Giants? Why not the Indianapolis Colts?
That's true. Didn't think about that. I mean, the Colts did just draft a first-round quarterback who's a bust.
No, he gets tired a lot. That's what it is.
He gets tired a lot. Yeah, okay.
No.
He has no accuracy. Richardson has no accuracy whatsoever. He has a cannon for an arm. He's athletic. He is a poor man's Cam Newton.
Future Trey Lance in the making? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, maybe. Let's see. My opinion's biased. As I was one of those people that was trying to pull for Trey Lance. So, all right. So let's talk about Jamar Chase and his incredible stat line: 11 receptions, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns in a loss to the Ravens.
Yeah.
What do you got to say? I mean, you actually had him in your fantasy league the last time he put up 50 points. Do you remember that when you won the championship?
Oh yeah, like the guy single-handedly won me the championship that year. I had him on my team. I had
Debo. I think you had Debo too, right?
I think I had Debo. I also had Waddle from the Miami Dolphins in his rookie year.
Yeah, that's a good team.
It was just a amazing year for wide receivers that year, and Jamar Chase is such a special player. Yeah. And the connection that he's developed with Joe Burrow from their LSU days until now, it's amazing.
Yeah.
The Cincinnati Bengals had an opportunity to draft a lineman very high in the draft. Instead, they opted to get Jamar Chase to bring him in alongside, Burrow, and that decision has worked wonders, I think. And just the connection that those two guys have, and I thought they were going to pull it off, going for 2. I thought the decision was such a great decision by their head coach. There's not many coaches now that decide to do something like that, but the game was just, like those rock'em sock'em robots, there was just punch after punch, and it was just, it was the best decision they could have made. It didn't work out in the end, but, they left everything out on the field. So I really think going forward, Cincinnati's still going to have a strong team. They still have an ability to win that division, which that division right now looks like it's one of the best in the NFL.
Lamar Jackson threw for 4 touchdown passes. He is an absolute beast. He is the MVP again, I think, this year. I mean, what can you say? You can't say anything bad about the guy. I just feel terrible that I didn't draft him in fantasy again. I got to take this guy. This guy is he's insane. Like, he's so good. Now, I mean, before he'll kill you with his arm. Now he's kill you with his legs, and now he's killing you with his arm. So, and there's nothing he can't do except obviously win in the playoffs. So, but we can talk about that later. Okay, let's talk about the Bears. We heard some news this morning about their offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, being released, and now Thomas Brown has been promoted. He is a former Sean McVay disciple. Will this fix Caleb Williams, who is looking like a bust?
The Bears started the season off, to a rocket start. They've lost 3 straight games. I wouldn't measure a quarterback on a 3-game stretch like that. It's too early. They just haven't really conformed the way that they need to. One of the most difficult things I think quarterbacks face nowadays is they're not given time. They're not given time to develop, sit back, watch a Brett Favre for, 2-3 years, like Aaron Rodgers got to, and the same goes for Jordan Love. Guys aren't able to sit and learn the speed of the game from the sidelines. They're just thrown into the fire. The NFL has changed so much now. It's, they're not building these guys up. They're just, hey, go learn on the fly. So if you're able to get a guy that is able to sit for a little while, out of this whole draft class, the 2 guys that I think are going to be the most special are the 2 that aren't playing right now. That's J.J. McCarthy and Michael Penix Jr. Both of those guys are sitting and watching, JJ is sitting because he's out for the season, but Michael Penix is healthy. He's sitting behind Kirk Cousins, and they have very different styles of playing, but the game speed's going to be the same. So these guys are getting used to this, and you can't measure how big this is to be able to just sit back and watch. So those two guys, in my opinion, going forward are going to be the best from this draft class or have the best opportunity. Caleb Williams, it's tough. He was the first pick in the draft for the most terrible team. So, I wouldn't say he's a bust at any measure.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if the sit behind another starter for a year works anymore. I think quarterbacks come in from college ready to go. Jordan Love and, Aaron Rodgers are obviously the exception. It's interesting that they're both coming out of Green Bay, where Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre, Jordan Love sat behind Aaron Rodgers, and now they've been successful, right? Sure, but I mean, there's players like Trey Lance going back to him. You need to play them. They need to play, right? CJ Stroud got to play, right? Came out, got his team into the playoffs. Brock Purdy got to play. I mean, granted, Brock Purdy's probably not the best example here. He did sit behind Trey and then Jimmy, and then came in, got him into the playoffs, deep into the playoffs. But yeah, I guess you can look at it both ways, but yeah. So let's look back at this first round of last year's draft. How do you rank the first round picks, the quarterbacks? Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and Bo Nix. We will honorably mention Michael Penix Jr. and JJ McCarthy. They're not playing, so we'll leave them out.
Yeah.
Because the jury's still out on them. But those four quarterbacks, where do you rank them from top to bottom?
At this point in the season, it's a clear-cut number one with Jaden Daniels. The guy is in the discussion for the MVP of the league. The two others that are tied, in my opinion, are going to be Caleb Williams and Bo Nix. Neither one jumps off the page to me. They both play halfway decent. Drake May still has time. Like I think he just started 2 games this year so far. He's made some pretty incredible throws. Really cool to see, especially as for New England fans. They haven't had someone that they can get behind in quite some time. So that's how I would rank it. I would go Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams tied for 2, 3, and then Drake May last there.
Yeah. I think the only thing I would change is Jaden Daniels. I would go with Bo Nix, and then I'd go Drake May, and then I'd go Caleb Williams. I wasn't too impressed with Caleb Williams coming out of college. I know a lot of people were. I didn't think he was going to transition well. Maybe it's just a Bears thing. But Bo Nix has really impressed me last couple games. Jaden Daniels is, clearly like the best, right? I mean, he's Lamar Jackson, right? 2.0. He's special player. Drake May he got to sit behind Brissett and, for a couple, I think that was good for him. I think now I'm thinking about it. Now I agree with you. Maybe it is good to sit behind a quarterback for a little bit. Yeah. Drake May he's made some pretty good throws, and he's given life to an organization that hasn't really had much of it. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with them. See what happens with Penix Jr. and McCarthy as well. Hopefully they get a chance to play at some point, but I don't see it anytime soon. Chiefs win a game they had no business winning on a blocked field goal, which should have been a chip shot for the Broncos. How do they keep doing it?
It just looks like it's a team of destiny. they just someone's just looking out for them. The football gods are good to them. It was an ugly game. The teams didn't play that well. Neither one did. It looked like the Broncos had an opportunity to steal one and to come up short. It's a little demoralizing, but I just feel like the Chiefs keep getting these chinks in that armor that one of these shots is definitely going to go through. And I don't think they'll be able to go undefeated throughout the regular season. So, they're going to continue to have more and more pressure on them. They're not playing with house money at this point. They're trying to stay undefeated, and that's something that may be a deterrent to them going forward in the season. So
yeah, I agree. I think did you watch the celebration afterwards where Patrick Mahomes, once he saw the blocked field goal, he ran onto the top of the field line? Like it was like the Super Bowl all over again. They want to go undefeated. This is real for them. They are trying to win every game now. It's personal. Like they want to be that team that's done it, right? This is their opportunity to do it. They know it. Their schedule is very weak.
Yep.
If you look at that schedule, apart from Buffalo, there's not one team that's, I don't think they can beat. Buffalo's the toss-up. Let's see how that goes, Josh Allen always plays the Chiefs defense really well, so that'll be interesting.
The last time a team went undefeated, they traded for a Hall of Fame wide receiver, and that team was the New England Patriots that set the league on fire that year and lost in the Super Bowl to the New York Football Giants. And the Chiefs did trade for DeAndre Hopkins, who, we all know is a future Hall of Famer. So history has a tendency to repeat itself.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to have that as one of the headlines going forward through the year.
Yeah, absolutely. I just hope the team at the end of the tunnel that's going to be there with the Chiefs is going to be our 49ers. But right now it's looking like the Lions. Every week it's looking like the Lions. They won again last night. So did you watch that game? What'd you think?
Yeah, I did catch some of the game. I thought, oh, you're talking about the Miami game or?
Oh, sorry. No. Take that back. That was Sunday night, right?
You're talking about Sunday night game.
Yeah, the Sunday night game. Yeah. What did you think about the Lions coming back against the Texans?
Yeah, well, the Lions have a little bit more experience at this point, and they know how to win those close games. The Texans are still developing; they're a younger squad. They just didn't know how to finish the game. They were very close. They held a decent lead, but there's a dog and a never let up mentality that these Detroit Lions have. The tenacity that they show week in and week out, I think it's unmatched up until this point.
Yeah. I posted that reel where, I asked you last week, is there a team that can challenge the Detroit Lions in the NFC? And a couple Eagle fans replied.
Oh,
and they, obviously they mentioned themselves. The reel cuts off where I jump in, I give my spiel. And I did name the Eagles and the 49ers definitely challenging the Lions. But the more I think about it, the more I seriously doubt the Eagles have a chance against the Lions, because there's Jalen Hurts. If he has to throw the ball, if you take the outside away and he has to throw the ball in the middle of the field, you're going to lose. I just also don't trust him to drive down the field and score.
Yeah.
Right? He's very prone to interceptions, especially in the end zone for some reason. He threw another one against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. The Eagles, what's their favorite play called? The tush push.
Yeah.
still don't understand why they don't use Saquon Barkley. Baffles me. Like, you're paying this guy this much money, just give him the ball. Don't get Jalen Hurts hurt. But I guess Sirianni knows better. But I just, I think the Lions will take care of the Eagles easy. 49ers, we'll find out soon. I think that'll be a good matchup. We'll see where the 49ers are at the end of the year. But yeah, I think that kind of wraps up week 10, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
So let's pick some games for week 11. We got some really good matchups this week. So let's start with the Washington Commanders at the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, this week is just loaded with good games, but this one is one of the best for sure. Commanders at Eagles. We're really going to be able to tell how good these Commanders are when they play the Eagles for sure.
Oh yeah.
Jaden Daniels, unbelievable season thus far. Heartbreaking loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. I think they're going to come in. They're going to come in energized. I think the Eagles, unfortunately, I don't think the Eagles have played anyone really well. Like, they've had a couple games, and those teams have been mediocre at best. I think the Commanders are going to win decisively. What do you think?
I think it's going to be a close game. It's very difficult to go into Philadelphia and win a game, especially with the fan base that they have. I'm very interested to see how many Commanders fans we see, because Washington is just up the road from Philadelphia. So, and then, Washington is definitely having a great year. This is a division matchup. This is a big game. This is a game that may come down to deciding that division. So, I want to say the Commanders will pull this one out. I just feel better about the head coach for Washington as opposed to Philadelphia. I think Dan Quinn, he's just better prepared, and he just puts people in place to get it done. And I really feel like if their defense meets their offense, I want to stick with Dan Quinn for sure.
Yeah, Dan Quinn special for sure.
So the next game we got on the docket is going to be the Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what the Bears offense looks like here, right? They've lost a bunch. I'm sure they're pissed off, right? They want to get a win. Same thing with the Packers. Packers are coming off a bye. It's hard not to pick the Packers. They got shellacked in the last game against the Lions, right before they went on bye. But Jordan Love's still dealing with that groin injury, so we'll see how it goes. I'm going to pick the Packers here. I think the Bears, I think it's too. Just don't like their offense. Not a big fan of their head coach. Strategy wise, you're gonna have to go with LaFleur here. I think he's gonna get it done. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I really think the Packers are going to take this one. They're going to go into Chicago, and maybe what Aaron Rodgers used to say when he'd go to Chicago. Jordan Love will say is, "I own you," So let's see if Jordan Love can continue the success that Packers quarterbacks have had in Chicago. Next game we got on the docket, we have the Buffalo Bills playing at the Kansas City Chiefs. I want to say this is definitely going to be the game, one of the games of the week.
Yeah, this is the game the Chiefs lose, if they lose anything this year. This is the one. We're going to find out how good this Chiefs team really is after this game.
Yeah.
I'm having a very difficult time picking this game. But having said that, I think the Chiefs have a special team this year. I think they're going to get the win. I still think they're going to go undefeated this year.
I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. I think the Buffalo Bills are starting to put things together. Josh Allen is playing like an MVP candidate. And he has gone to Arrowhead before, and he's tasted defeat. I don't think he wants to do that again. So I want to go with the Buffalo Bills in this one. Let's carry on to the Baltimore Ravens going to the Steel City of Pittsburgh. So who do you got in that one?
It's another divisional game, and all these divisional games are so good this week. It's insane. Steelers coming off a huge win. Russell Wilson looked really good last week. Really good. That throw to Mike Williams, who, I mean, geez, Mike Williams is a good receiver. I don't know what the hell the Jets are doing over there. Like, that offense can't do anything. It's so vanilla. But yeah, the Steelers, they're playing really good football. That defense is special. The Ravens did escape with a victory last week. I think they're going to come in. I think that last week's game kind of rattled them.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this one. And this one's going to be Pittsburgh. Just, they're at home. They're hungry. They want this win for sure. Yeah, I think they're going to take it. What about you?
It's tough to go against Mike Tomlin, especially at home. He's an amazing head coach. If I had to pick the best head coach in the last, 10 years or so in the NFL, the most consistent coach, he's right up there. That being said, I still think Baltimore has a different facet to their team. That, Lamar Jackson is the MVP for a reason. He's still playing like it. They're coming off an amazing divisional win against Cincinnati last week. I think they're going to continue to ride the high, and they're going to get it done in the Steel City.
All right.
So the last matchup we're looking at are the Cincinnati Bengals going to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. Go, Chargers, go.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh, man. Oh my God. This guy is just a winner, isn't he? He just doesn't know how to lose. He just knows how to win. I mean, they're playing really good ball, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Like, I think they have the least amount of points scored this year against their defense.
Yeah.
So special, really special what's happening over there with the Chargers. Bengals, again, heartbreaking loss against the Ravens. They're also playing really good ball here, I think. Something's got to give here.
Yeah.
You got Joe Burrow's offense, all right? Joe Burrow's playing lights out of late. And then you got the Chargers defense.
For sure.
Tough one to pick. I think I'm going to take the home team here. I'm going to take the Chargers. I think they get it done.
Simply put, Jim Harbaugh's a winner. Everywhere he goes, guys just believe. Go Chargers. Go.
Yeah. No, it's you're all right. So I think we got through the top 5 games, and at least for us, and there's some other good games out there too.
Yep.
We don't need to pick the 49ers Seahawks because
Homers.
Homers. Our opinion is always going to be biased. I don't think we've ever picked against them.
Maybe we should in the Super Bowl, and maybe they'll actually win it. So, it was a great time doing this again today. I had a blast. I feel like we covered a lot of good stuff. Very excited for this weekend's games. Not only for the NFL's games, but for the boxing match on Friday night between Jake Paul and Iron Mike Tyson. Also, we have some amazing MMA fights out there, guys. So hopefully you guys are going to be tuned in to watch those. So we can always come back next week and we'll discuss what happened over the weekend. And hopefully, we'll get some more viewers and hopefully you guys are continuing to enjoy this. Thank you all for watching us on every platform, YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, X, and TikTok. I know sometimes we have a small attention span, But whoever does get to tune in, we appreciate that. And those reels are pretty halfway decent as well. So check them out, guys.
All right, the Golden Brews signing out. See ya.